So we are putting together a Battlegrounds live action short for the Corridor channel, and as a byproduct of that, we needed to get every single Battlegrounds gun in AIRSOFT form, because we don't use real machine guns on set. It's really expensive and hard to come by. As you might know if you watch our videos, we recently got a 3D printer. And you can do a lot of stuff with the 3D printer, from printing out little tchotchkes that are going to eventually go in the garbage can, to actually printing out functional prototypes and actual equipment that you can use to be truly productive. I'm going to split the difference between those two things. And I want to try making a mask. I want to learn how to print something like this out of something like that. Let's see if I can do it and not totally mess it all up. So I was doing some research online, and there's a whole bunch of 3D printed masks out there, so it definitely seems possible. And you can see they're actually broken up into a lot of pieces usually and printed out. Like on this mask here, for example, you can see all the different chunks. When you're printing, things need supports. So if you have, like, say, a large arch, printer needs something to lay down the plastic on, so it'll print a little support up the middle. So that's another reason for splitting up these masks into these separate pieces. It seems pretty straightforward. It seems like something I could figure out. I'm thinking of starting with this red hood helmet because it's super basic. And it's on Thingiverse. There's a whole bunch of different models on Thingiverse. It's really cool. People share their creations. Now, he's actually divided it into a lot of individual pieces. And I know our printer is bigger than these pieces. I think it's going to be simpler for me, and I'll have a cleaner helmet if I can actually cut it up into newer pieces. And not only that, it'll help me learn how to slice up any other mask that I make for printing. So I'm going to disregard all his individual pieces here that he's cut up, and I'm going to instead take his full mask model. I'm going to recut it myself. Hopefully not screw this whole thing up. So here we are with a collection of every single gun from Battlegrounds, minus a couple very, very key exceptions because I don't make AIRSOFT versions of them. So let's jump in. Alright, so in PUBG, there's a couple very specific rifles that you'll find all over the place. The SCAR, the M4, the M16, and the AKM. It's worth noting that this is not the AK-47, but the AKM. They look very similar, but the AKM is the slightly modernized version of the AK-47. Our M16 has an underslung grenade launcher. Of course, in the game they don't have grenade launchers. But something that's worth noting is that the M16 has a longer barrel length. In AIRSOFT, that usually translates into more accuracy. However, I'm personally a fan of the M4 form factor in AIRSOFT because it's very, very interchangeable and very, very customizable. I actually have another M4 here. I didn't pull this one out because it's not the same color as the one in the game. But you can see here it's actually kitted out with all the fixins, including the 2x scope. So here we have the M249 and the Thompson submachine gun, commonly referred to as the Tommy gun. You can probably guess why, but in the game they give you 100 rounds and a drum mag. Drum mags are neat. In an AIRSOFT game, I just use a high cap, regular looking mag. The M249 is a really cool rifle. It's huge, it's heavy, there's a lot of little parts, and believe it or not, this isn't even a carrying handle. It looks like it is, but it's not. Personally, if I were to play with one in AIRSOFT, I play with a SCAR. I actually have a personal SCAR with an extended barrel that I play with, and it is one of my favorite AIRSOFT guns.
Good news, the Pewter 42 shirts are still on sale on the Corridor Digital store at corridordigital.com/store. And newsflash, we now are selling these in baseball style tees by popular request. They are there, go check them out, limited time only.
Okay, so here I have the Red Hood helmet loaded up in 3ds Max. The very first thing I had to learn was how to slice this stuff up. So there's actually a modifier in 3ds Max called Slice. So when you apply Slice, it creates a plane here, and it just straight up slices your object. Now the thing is, it doesn't cap it, so there's another modifier you can put on here called Cap Holes, which also does exactly what it says it does. And there you have it. So this is one easy way to slice up an object. And all you have to do is duplicate your object, and without moving the slicer at all, you can choose which side is being sliced, and you can easily make two separate slices that perfectly meet at the seam. So here we have the mask all sliced up. You can see all the different sections here. My thought is, as I print these, I can lay them down on the bed so they basically just get printed upwards, and I don't need a lot of support material. I have another thought here, a problem I couldn't counter. So I thought it might be a good idea to add like little ridges that can like guide the mask into the right spot. So I went ahead and I modeled all those here. So I have a little ridge here that I put on the side. I did a little loft shape, and I booleaned out the top edge of the mask so it's perfectly cut out. And so then I have another one right here on the bridge of the nose. Oh, I have one right here on the bottom front of the mask, which will bring the two halves together. So we're gonna just start with printing this section right here. So what this program does is it takes your 3D model and it turns it into paths for the printer, which is called G-code, I guess. So it's going to tell the little printer head where to move and which steps to take and all that kind of stuff. All right, so I've finished orienting the mask on this platform here. Anything that's red is a part of the print that needs support. So I have a little bit of stuff on the bottom there that needs support, and the underside of this eye. All right, so yeah, that's the printer support all the way up the front of the mask there. And if I go in and I zoom in close here, you can actually see all the individual paths of plastic that are gonna get laid down. And it's a very, very fine print. All the different tracks the little plastic head's going to take. Wow. It's really neat. So I hope this works. I'm a little worried about this little support stand, because the supports are made out of like just one thin wall of plastic, so you can just pop them off easily. Okay, but this is pretty efficient. I think this will work. And if this works, I know that the mirrored side of this will also work. No sweat. Okay, let's print it. All right, so let's talk about some SMGs that are in PUBG. First and foremost, my favorite SMG in Battlegrounds is the Vector. And this is actually one of my favorite SMGs that we have here in the studio. This is a gas-powered KWA Vector. KWA no longer has the license to manufacture vectors. Chris, the company that makes the Vector, actually makes AEG vectors now. So you can go and you can get an AIRSOFT Vector. It's not gas-powered, it's electric, from the company that actually makes the Vector now. This is a rare spawn, actually in the game and in real life. And it's that color in the game too. This here is a micro Uzi. It has the shoulder stock on it, which you have to find in the game to attach to it. So if you're ever wondering how big the micro Uzi actually is, it's this big. Kinda micro, not that micro. Oh, it's not pronounced Uzi, it's pronounced Uzi 9mm. This is the UMP. This is one of my other favorite guns. Everybody just secretly, the UMP is their favorite gun in PUBG. They might not know it, but it is. It's basically a poor man's rifle. I mean, look how big it is. See? They're almost the same size. So the pistols in the game, M9, we got the 1911, and the Glock 18, which this is the closest thing I have. Much like the Chris Vector, Glock also limited the ability for manufacturers to use their gun design. I personally actually run with a 1911. I have this WE 1911 that's never broken. And I've used it in every game, and I love it. Say the mistakes you learn from aren't actually mistakes, right? Well, maybe I can make this not a mistake by learning from it. Let's see. This is all messed up. It shouldn't be hairy like this. I'm not trying to print a bunch of pubes here. Here's what I think happened. It's like CSI for 3D modeling. This little guy didn't stick to the plate and broke off. And so it kept trying to print this stuff here without the support. The support wasn't there anymore, and that's why you have all this squiggly stuff in here too. But I can fix this. I just need to make a bigger skirt. And it kind of makes sense. If this whole thing's really tall and the skirt's only this big, a bigger base would probably make sense. So I'm gonna increase the size of the skirt and we're gonna print it again. All right, shotguns. It breaks my heart, but they don't make over-under airsoft shotguns. I guess no one ever saw the point in making a brake-loading over-under shotgun for airsoft that fires 2 bullets. I have this Remington 870 stand-in to give the effect. It does that, which is really cool. There's airsoft shotguns that basically are just regular rifles that shoot 1 or 2 BBs, but in terms of one that shoots out a cloud of BBs, if you want something like that, your best bet's actually to go with a grenade launcher, because those are the closest things to shotguns in airsoft. All right, sniper rifles. So we got the couple sniper rifles from the game. Here's the AWM, here's the M24, and everybody's favorite gun to hate, the VSS. The VSS is cool because it comes with a silencer and a 4x scope mounted on it in the game. In real life, it doesn't come with a 4x scope. However, the bullets are subsonic. They shoot 9mm rounds. This was supposed to be a stealthy spec ops, like Spetsnaz gun. It was designed for them to carry with them behind enemy lines. When they shoot it, the subsonic bullets prevent there from being a little sonic boom, that little crack of a bullet flying by you. You won't hear the bullets fly by. It's a good gun for annoying people and confusing them in Battlegrounds. And when it comes to airsoft, it shoots at the same speed as everything else. So it really doesn't matter. This is the M24, and it's been decked out from various use and videos that we've had it in, with a bipod and a rag. It's our real janky AWM. Not a bad gun, actually, for airsoft. If you're going to play with sniper rifles in airsoft, you're kind of better off having like a game with custom rules where it's like pistols and shotguns and sniper rifles only. Otherwise, realistically, at the end of the day, anybody using an electric AEG is going to be more or less just as accurate as somebody with a sniper rifle. I also have this really cool looking customized AWM. This is from our Battlefield series. This was customized by the folks over at evike.com. And Evike helped hook us up with some of these props for this upcoming Battlegrounds video that we're making. So a big thank you to them. And if you guys want to get any of these guns for your own kit, go check them out. They have all of these guys here. And what about the crossbow? The one last outlier of a gun. If you shot your friends with the crossbow, you'd probably kill them. We have this old hand prop crossbow here. It actually does shoot. I think I need new strings.
Let it go. I know that face.
Printed a bigger skirt. It totally worked. This little piece here didn't break off this time. So it's on here like this, and when I found it, there's like some weird like fuzzy stuff here, and there's this line all the way across the mask, all the way across here, and this piece actually broke off. Something got fudged, but here's what I think happened. I don't think I loaded the plastic filament correctly, and I had a feeding issue. Something happened here where it got caught and it wasn't feeding plastic for an entire like 2 or 3 layers of print. So now there's a freaking line across the model, and this piece broke off, and there's a line right here and there shouldn't be. And this is about 10 hours into it.